Hello. Another common question I get from my patients on feminizing HRT is if I'm trying to lose weight, am I also fighting against my own fat redistribution? Let's talk about the actual biology. I'm Dr. Dave, your transgender health and hormone specialist with 30 years in the field. Estrogen really does change where a body prefers to store fat. Over time, fat storage shifts away from the abdomen and visceral compartments and more towards the hip, thighs, and buttocks. Part of that appears to involve changes in enzymes like lipoprotein lipase. This helps fat cells absorb and store fat. Increasing activity in the glutafemoral fat deposits under estrogen dominant conditions. We see this clearly in cis female adipose biology, and clinically we see very similar redistribution patterns in many trans women on HRT. And importantly, this process is very real, but it is also kind of slow. We're usually talking about years, not months at all. Now, this is where the internet argument starts. One side says stay in a calorie deficit. Fat is constantly being broken down and replaced anyway, so redistribution continues the whole time. And biologically, there is some truth to that. Fat tissue is metabolically active. Even during weight loss, turnover is still happening and estrogen still influences where the body preferentially stores fat. The other side says if you never give your body extra calories, there's less opportunity to lay down new feminizing fat. So their strategy is to cycle. Lose weight for a few months, then spend a short period in a mild calorie surplus to encourage new fat deposition in estrogen favored areas. Both positions have physiologic logic to them. Physiologic logic. But the important thing to understand is this. We do not have strong clinical evidence proving that cycling deficits and surpluses produces superior redistribution outcomes in trans women specifically. I know y'all get sick of me saying that, but it's the truth and I've got to always include it. Most of that idea comes from general adipose biology plus community experience. Now, I'm a firm believer community experience matters. Trans communities have often had to learn way ahead of formal research, but I would not present cycling as some kind of medically established protocol. What I usually tell people is this: a moderate, sustainable calorie deficit is not the enemy of feminization. Redistribution still continues. What concerns me is too aggressively dieting, because severe calorie restriction while the body is trying to remodel fat distribution can become completely counterproductive. Your body still needs adequate nutrition, adequate protein and recovery, and time. Time matters enormously here. A lot of meaningful redistribution happens gradually over, especially the first 2 to 5 years of consistent hormone exposure, sometimes even longer. I firmly believe that changes continue through one's entire life, not from finding the perfect dietary hack. So if cycling feels good for your body and is physiologically sustainable for you, I don't think it's unreasonable or a problem. But if steady, moderate fat loss is working well for you, I would not panic that you're somehow blocking redistribution. Try and be patient with your body. It's doing something genuinely complex. Sometimes the hardest part of transition is that biology moves slower than hope does. If you've experimented with either approach, I'd love to hear from you what your experience has been and what you think. And as always, thank you for hitting all those special buttons over there. It means the world to me and always leaves me with a warm and fuzzy feeling in my tummy. We'll talk soon. Of course, remember to love, support, and protect each other.